Speaking of sugar, I'm on Weight Watchers. Oh man.
How's that going?
I like the fact that they have an app and you can just scan food and you know how screwed you are. You know, like, oh my God, this is, 3 digits worth of points. I'm supposed to get by on 32 points a day. So it's a combination of carbs and calories and all this stuff. So it makes it really easy. And they give you a list of like 200 foods that have 0 points. So lunch meat like turkey, the low-fat turkey, low-fat chicken.
Really? With all the sodium and junk in it? That's 0?
Yeah, that's 0. Yep.
You'll be skinny, but your blood pressure will be.
I like sugars and vegetables, and like fruits and vegetables. And I'm like, you could eat bananas all day long, and it's 0 points. This doesn't seem.
Why do you think monkeys are in such good shape? You ever seen a gorilla?
That's probably true.
Jacked bananas all day long. Amazing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm working on now. Steve says, Brent, you weigh 87 pounds. Oh, I wish I weighed 187 pounds. No, I'm up at 207 at the moment. And I hit this thing where at 215, I snore really loud. So I have to get back down and go lower than that. So it's all in the belly. Let's see. Dawn says, oh, Richie, I should make Richie ask the questions. Yeah, sure. Richie, you want to ask the questions this week?
Well, you've already said that. I'm every replication question, so I'm going to ask. So bring your replication questions in, everybody, and we'll ask every single one of them, and we'll answer 0 of them.
That's probably true.
Ooh, that's what I didn't do yet.
Replicate?
No. With the Brios, you have to go in and change some weird setting to make it widescreen.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I installed the Logitech Brio software or not.
You don't have, it's under GoToWebinar. If you go under GoToWebinar under webcam, then go into preferences and you can choose 16.3 or 4.3.
Yeah.
69 or 4.3.
We ready?
There he is. He's wide. Yeah.
Now I look skinny compared to my skin. I take up the whole thing.
It's a webcam weight loss program.
It's fourth perspective. So like I just make people look at a bigger room so I look smaller.
I ordered a new webcam just because mine's still doing the wraparound finger thing. And I'm like, okay, I give up.
Did you get another Brio or did you get something else?
Yeah, I got another Brio. I love these things.
Cool. Yeah, they're awesome.
Fantastic.
You should set up both.
One from in front and one from behind.
Right? Yeah, that wouldn't be confusing at all.
No, we got left and right. That way
Like
it's almost like
stereo
VR type stuff.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So I know that we're due to start soon, but I wanted to just let anyone watching know that I've been accepted to present at SQL Saturday in New York City on May 19th. So if anyone is, I guess, anyone from the tri-state area wants to come on down and watch me babble about stuff, I'll be there. The one session I know that got selected was query optimization explained in 15 demos. I might have a second one since I said that there are still some open slots. So I don't know.
Awesome.
So I'll be doing at least one there. So I look forward to maybe seeing all of you from a distance.
And we're also always ready, or we're always interested to hear what people would want to hear us talk about too. So if you've got ideas for sessions you'd want to hear us give, feel free to put that into the questions as well.
Replication. Fixing replication disaster.
Damn it.
Well, you know what stinks is you're going to say that and people are going to say like a lot of HADR topics are going to come up. And I am just gasless when it comes to HADR topics. Like someone's like, I had nothing to say about failover clusters anymore. They exist. I'm sorry.
Speaking of which, so Rim Jim starts with a question. He says, hello. I have a replication question. He says, we have always on set up and the primary is also the publisher. We don't have an AG installed. If I want to remove the main publisher, none of us in here know. This is the funniest thing about doing replication. One of the slides you see go past talks about going to dba.stackexchange.com for posting multi-paragraph questions. And we just tend to avoid replication like the plague. Really, because it is the plague.
It is. It is a pox upon your servers.
It's pretty much.
Mercutio.
It's I was gonna say it's such like an outdated technology at this point. Like there are just so many replacements for it that just are easier to deal with and are less brittle and break less. So.
And it's not like it's bad. I get that people go, oh, this works for me and I want to keep using it. That's cool. Just you get that as you try to ask questions because the thing breaks all the time and you're trying to get the changes made to it and nobody's around to answer. Man, you go look at Amazon.com, go look at the books on replication and then look and see what the authors are doing now. It's not replication for every one of them. They've all gone and done somewhere else. Yeah,
like if you need like a primer and some troubleshooting stuff, Redgate has a free PDF about replication, but it's old. It's from like 2009 or 10 or something. Like no one's keeping up to date on that. Like replication just hasn't changed where like there's like a constant need for like, replication experts to like keep their skills up to date. It's like all this is the same problems for like the last 15 years.
Replication does not bring the boys to the yard.
No, it doesn't.
It keeps the boys from the yard. Rim Jim follows up with, the reason we have replication is because we don't care. He says, because on the subscriber, we have custom scripts that do not replicate all the delete commands. You can do that with SSIS too. You can do that with stuff like continuously copying data from one place to another. You're right in that this is what it was made for. That's a good thing, but it's just painful. It sucks.
Yeah.
Richie, I don't think he wants to ask questions.
Oh, no. I was waiting for the green light here. So
green light, go for it.
All right. So Anand would like to hear more about SQL Source Control with Git for a total newbie.
Oh, there you go, Richie.
No, you guys are the SQL experts. Please go ahead. Talk to me about Git. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
So like the Venn diagram of SQL expertise and then like Git and source control expertise, if you can picture my hands as circles and then picture the Venn diagram slowly expanding as you add these words into the equation, they are far apart.
And once you get to Pluto, keep going.
Yeah.
Pretty far. My thought was I couldn't get into it until Jeremiah kind of forced me into it. And he's like, look here, let me show you how it works. And I think I would go, instead of coming at it from a SQL source control angle, I would go to your developers, talk to your developers because they're already really comfortable with Git, GitHub, TFS, whatever kind of distributed source control that you want to go use.
Yeah, and there's different levels, right? I mean, because you could just use Git and just throw things in there and everything's fine. But when you start working with other people, the Git workflow and there's different ways of doing it and branching and merging, it could get pretty confusing pretty quick. So, I mean, I understand why all these DBAs who are now forced to use Git, they're really confused and they don't want to deal with it. I understand it.
If you wanted to give someone like, a pillow landing for Git, you could try using GitHub Desktop, which, GUIizes a lot of the stuff that you have to do and that's what I use because, I'm soft. So it helps in that regard because I can do stuff and I can fix stuff. I'm still a little gun shy when it comes to like fixing conflict on a merge or something, but for the most part, it's for the scripts we use. It's I know them well enough. Like I have enough domain knowledge about the scripts where it's not awful for me to use the GUI interface for it. If you wanted me to use a command line, like actually use Git, I would run screaming.
Even pragmatic. The command line. Visual Studio Code has a Git Lens hook-in plugin, and it works great. Source Tree, I use Source Trees for visualizations. So, I mean, I could use the command line just like anyone else, but I don't need it.
No.
Stuff. Yep. So Don asked, what are the best steps for installing service packs and cumulative updates on SQL Server? Change to a single user, stop SQL Server agent service, stop service, blah, blah, blah. Go on.
I'm a huge fan of like if you have any kind of high availability, patch the secondary first. Do it during the week when you're sober, like between 9 and 5. Once you've done it a few times, you get used to what you're able to do without a reboot and what actually requires a reboot. But then that way, if the thing's all patched up and ready to go and it's just a secondary, then you can fail over to it during your outage window, make sure that everything's okay. And in that scenario, the whole thing about stopping the service and agent and all that is much less relevant. You just don't have to worry about it as much. If you only have one server and it's up and you have to do the patching live, oh my God, that just makes me nervous. Like, you can do it, but the whole concept of stopping agent, stopping the service and all that is a giant pain in the rear. I'll tell people if they want me to performance tune and get it right to that level, just give me a secondary instead.
I mean, the other thing you're looking at is, cutting off access from the application so that no users can try to sneak in and hook in or whatever. If it is just a standalone instance, you really have no choice but to ask for whatever maintenance window you think you need to install and then roll back if the install something goes awfully bad with it.
Okay, so Taste Shale, I believe that's her name. If I mispronounce your name, I'm so sorry. I write code all day. I have a top one order by descending query that has an index on it, but it does an index scan and reads about 8 million records. SP Blitz Cache shows parallel warnings, no missing indexes. It's one of the most expensive procs in terms of CPU. What can be done to change an index seek? Could cast be a problem?
There is a cast function in it, like where...
It's there's casting UTC dates.
Yeah, I mean that's not gonna change much.
I have bad feelings. Everything about this gives me bad feelings.
Yeah.
So why? What are the code smells?
I don't know. What I want to do is see the query plan. I want you to take the XML and put it on paste the plan, and then if you want like super detailed help with it, because obviously like the amount of information you give me just isn't enough to tune a query with. When you say there's an index on it, I'm like, okay, well, there's an index on lots of stuff. Post it on dba.stackexchange.com. What a nice time for that slide to pop up, and I don't have anything to do for the rest of the day, so if you post it on there, I'd be happy to take a look and see if there's anything.
Well, I have some issues that you can help me with, Eric.
Oh, okay.
Some stuff Richie, you can check in and out to get if you want.
I don't know. Just try it in Postgres, Richie.
He also has some issues that you can't help him with.
Write a unit test.
The one thing that does stand out in there is you're like, why can't I get an index seek? If SQL Server is trying to compare two different fields, because you got two different fields in there, I date and B date, two different fields, and either of them could be less than some number, my guess is SQL Server is going, this is going to match a large percentage of the table. Yeah. Why bother doing index seeks on it? You could try rewriting it as a pair of unions so that one searches for I date and one searches for B date, but it's not going to be a small change.
Okay, so Pablo asked, "Hola, amigos. Hola, Dora. Here's my buddy Boots."
It'd be racist if anyone else did that. Richie gets to do it. It would, using his Spanish privilege against us.
The guy who is fifth generation Mexican American and doesn't speak a lick of Spanish. Who lives in Miami? All right. It's my burden to bear. I have a third-party app that is currently making a huge amount of transactions per second on a particular table. It is getting heavily locked, and the app is giving timeouts. Do you think that some kind of partitioning on the table may help the locking problem, or maybe another suggestion?
No, not partitioning anyway. Just because if you're not getting adequate chunks of data eliminated with the indexes you have now, trying to add partition elimination into the mix is not going to make that any simpler or give you any extra guarantees that it's going to work.
And always define what huge is, because the numbers, numbers mean different things to people. Is it like 10,000 batch requests a second, 50, 100,000 batch requests a second? Give me a rough idea there. Plus, too, if you're running into lock escalation, when you say huge numbers, that immediately makes me think, if you're tripping up past 5,000 rows locked, because we're end up doing index scans instead of seeks, the partitioning, it probably isn't going to help too much, because you're still going to escalate pretty quickly when you're locking thousands of rows.
Or when you're popping and locking.
When you're popping and locking. You did say, do you have another suggestion? I would say, depending on what the primary, if it's readers blocking writers or vice versa, RCSI might be a good fit, read committed snapshot isolation. If you go to brentozar.com/go/RCSI, we have posts about that. It's a setting that you can just flip a switch and magically blocking starts to disappear. There's just so many gotchas with it that's why we have the whole page about it.
Well, like TempDB would be the biggest one, right?
Yeah, the TempDB throughput and size. If someone does a begin tran, their TempDB can just start growing like crazy. Richie, you're going to kill me, but your microphone's doing the thing again, the staticky thing. I know, right? Can you? He goes, hold on. Yeah, so that's that.
How about now?
We're all playing Chicky. Go ahead. You were gonna.
Is it better now?
No.
Maybe.
Mike Chubbs asks, we're having this error that our Windows folks have no idea where to look at. He says the requested resources in use when I try to write during a write at offset blah 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 in file. 2 words, except I guess it's really 1 word, antivirus. So it's typically a filter driver, something that's intercepting writes. Antivirus grabbed a lock on something, a filter driver. So you've got some kind of filter driver that's trying to do compression or encryption or snapshots. Those are all common causes for that.
I know that semantic, or however you pronounce it, is kind of notorious for that sort of thing. So check and see if you have semantic running anywhere. I know it's going to sound like the awful thing to say, but if you run xperf, you can usually find the filter drivers that are using a whole bunch of CPU and doing stuff, and figure out which ones are messing with your files. Good old ETW trace.
Nice. Richie, you want to test your microphone?
Am I back? Hello.
You are back. Oh, you sound great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to stop using Chrome. I think Chrome's my problem, but
What the?
we'll see.
You have a Chrome problem?
I may. Everything Chrome.
Justin Bieber.
All right, so Gordon has a question. Is it possible for log backup to have an exception, access violation, and subsequent stack dump?
Sure, when you're corruption will do that. If it tries to back up corrupt data, that will totally do it. I would check CheckDB for starters. Oh, well, anytime you have any kind of error running backup, I would probably be worried about CheckDB.
I'm trying to think, would that be like guaranteed to be a CheckDB thing, or could that just be like the underlying? Is there a different disk that you can try taking the log back up to, that might, just to make sure it's not a pure hardware issue? Like that might be something to do if the CheckDB comes back clean.
And if you're backing up to a network, try local. If you're backing up local, try the network.
Yeah, and it might be a situation where like you have to add a second log file and get rid of the first one because it's on a bad bunch of storage or something too.
I should have also thrown out too weirdo backup software. I've got a rash of calls in lately from people going, I use such and such backup software, and when we look at their data, they're not doing backups. And I'm like, I don't know what that thing does, but generally, if you paid less than $100 for your backup software, it's probably not doing what you want it to do. Richie laughs. It's true. So there's this one. Customers have emailed in like 3 times during sales prospects. They're like, I use blank, and I go to the website. I've never heard it before, and I'm like, $49 with a 90-day trial.
You just can't trust software that costs less than $100.
Okay.
My copy of DataGrip costs more than that.
Yeah.
I was bummed that didn't work for me.
It will.
The connection string worked first time in Postgres, and then pgadmin rather.
There's something going on there. You just have to dig into it a little bit. Since you're not doing anything, for today, you could.
It's not true. I answered this person's question about their query.
Oh, okay. Good. I mean, that's Robert's question, right? Who wants to know how to troubleshoot an OLADB wait type?
Ooh, Olay. Olay.
It's early for Cinco de Mayo, but linked servers is one way to do it. Wait, I'd say hold up though. What makes you think OLADB is the problem? Because often people will run wait-stat scripts like SP Blitz first. We'll do the same thing. We list OLADB because sometimes it actually can be bad. It's just super rare. If it's 1-to-1 with clock time, like if your server's been up for 1,000 hours and you have 1,000 hours worth of OLADB waits, it's harmless. It's a monitoring tool like SQL Sentry, Quest Spotlight, Idera SQL DM. He says, I get it in the monitoring script. There's so many. I get it in the monitoring script.
Don't we all? Like Brent said, remote queries will cause OLADB. DBCC CheckDB will register OLADB waits. It just might not be that big a deal. Unless you're running CheckDB 24/7, like just in a loop.
Oh God, he follows up with, I'm moving 180,000 rows via linked server. Yep,
Oh,
well, that'll do it. Yep.
We found the problem.
He says the waits go to 2 seconds and then drop. Yep, that's exactly what it does, is reset every 2 seconds. It could be waiting on OLADB, but if you're trying to move 180,000 rows faster, I usually keep a USB floppy drive or something like that around. You know, use CD-ROM maybe. Might be faster than trying to move that kind of data around. But
Or SSIS?
SSIS, that's a good one. Yep.
Or, even just not moving 180,000 rows at once. Move like 1,000, 5,000 rows at once, something that, it's a little bit easier on your servers and on your network and all that other stuff.
Yep. Okay, so Brian has a question. As somewhat of a follow-up to the SQL and Git source control question, have any worked with any or have any strong opinions about the DACPAC/SSDT-based development and deployments?
Yeah, so I tried it when they first came out. I thought it sounded like a really interesting thing. And I try to keep optimistic about, hey, Microsoft's got new technology. I should play around with it. And the problem for me with DACPAC-based deployments was if I wanted to make a schema change to a large table, it was really weird how it worked, and it generated a ton of log data. So it seemed like it worked across small databases, and I'm going to use for a number for small, less than, say, 5 gigs of data. But it totally fell apart at like 50 gigs of data. The deployment was just brutal. Plus, dropping columns was horrific. I found that I could accidentally drop columns, during a deployment. It was way too easy to go do. So I was burned out on it within the first 6 months. I kept trying it and go, it's just not working for me. I haven't heard from anybody else that they swear by it, so I don't know.
No. A lot of people who have to do that sort of thing just use Redgate SQL Compare. And have sort of much better luck with that.
Yeah, I prefer SQL Compare. I am not a DACPAC person whatsoever. You just don't have a lot of control from what I've used of it in those deployments. At least with SQL Compare, I could say, oh, here's A, here's B, and give me the deltas, and then I have a script and I could review it and whatnot. As opposed to I'm just throwing this thing out there and it's going to do something and hopefully it'll work. I don't know.
So I'm gonna give Redgate SQL Compare the best accolade that I can give a piece of software. It was so easy, I could use it.
I agree. I like the wizards are nice. The side-by-side comparison thing.
Yeah. Like the highlights where things are different, like just woohoo.
Does that work for Postgres? Because Lord knows I could have used it yesterday. Whoa.
No, but why don't you use, what was it that you told me about, KDiff 3?
KDiff is essentially just for you compare text files, right? It's not going to go into your database and say, this is this and this is that. So what my problem was yesterday, I did a deployment to Postgres, and I had some scripts, and as I usually do, I'll go ahead and put all these updates into a different script, and then I'll keep track of it that way if it's gone to production or not. I didn't update the scripts from some of the updates that I had made in source control. And so I went ahead and deployed an old version of updates. And that's when Brent saw all this red and started laughing at me black and things like that. But I fixed it. I fixed it. This is fun. Yeah. All right. Steve Malking goes, you've already answered that question, Brent.
Oh, you can ask it, though. Ask it out loud.
Okay, ask it. Okay. So Steve has a question. Why backup software? Can't we do this with SQL Server tools?
My thought from working, I used to work for Quest, and so I was always worried about that question when people would come and ask, well, what do we need Lightspeed for? Can't we just do a native backup? The compression options, the encryption options, the monitoring, the log shipping GUI, all that kind of thing is phenomenal with third-party tools. Now, the ability to do integration with storage snapshots, there's all kinds of smart differentials, there's ton, or one of my favorites, object level recovery. If you're doing backups with Lightspeed, you can pluck an individual object out of the backup. Because newsflash, people don't call you to restore a 10 terabyte database. They call you to restore one table out of the 10 terabyte database. And then you don't have any space to go do it. You have to shuffle it around from one place to another. Man, third-party backup tools make that kind of thing way easier. if you don't have, I'm going to make a generalization. If all your databases are under a terabyte and you got, say, less than 100 servers, then you could probably get by with native. But as you go past a terabyte, man, the third-party stuff is phenomenal.
I look forward to the object level restore when people in Azure start having to restore large things, and Microsoft all of a sudden realizes, oh yeah, maybe it's not so much fun to babysit a 25 terabyte restore when I just have this 50,000 row table that I need to get back.
And especially if they're paying like SLA refunds to people when the restore starts to take 3 days. Yeah.
So another cool thing about tools like Lightspeed, beyond what Brent said with the object level restore, is transaction log reading. So, again, where no one ever tells you to, all sorts of like great DBA porn, when no one ever tells you that, to restore just one table, no one tells you to restore that table just to the last transaction log backup. There's always like, we're taking hourly transaction log backup and something happened earlier this morning, and you're like, cool. I don't know when that was. You don't know when that was, and you don't want to have to go through that crazy restore process to get things, back up to here and then realize you went too far and have to start the whole process over again. You really just want to get to the point where something bad happened and stop. Like, keep getting your data back and restore that.
So is DBA porn like, look at the IOPS on that server?
Yeah, stuff like that. There's
SCAM pages, PFS pages.
Yeah, Talk
Look
dirty.
at the low weights on that guy. Ooh.
Well, or you when you go into DBA cubicles, it's always the perfmon counter poster up on the wall. So that's right.
So true.
It is. That's what we put. Yep. Okay.
So
that's exactly it.
So
Well,
you
like
guys were playing with a new service that Azure just released. Why don't you tell everyone about that and kind of what you found out about it?
Eric, you want to know, Eric? So Azure Managed Instances, this is kind of, I'm going to use the term replacement, but I think it's the thing that people are going to light up in excitement for over Azure SQL DB, because you get cross-database queries, you get easier backups and restores. You can log ship up to it in a weird kind of way if you want to restore full backups up in Azure SQL DB or in Azure Managed Instances. It has more compatibility with more features that Azure SQL DB doesn't allow you to support. You can query DMVs. You can go into the master database. You can put stuff in the master database for that matter if you want. It's relatively affordable. It's pretty cheap when you think about it. And you can either buy it in 8 cores, 16, or 24 cores. You don't have to worry about memory. You don't really have to worry about storage even. There's just a slider for how much storage you want. It's not provisioned by price or anything. It's just a slider for storage, how fast you want your storage to, or how much storage space do you need.
Is storage size tied into storage speed?
There's just a size thing, and that's it. Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. Easy to set up. Some of the things that we found were that there's all kinds of new DMVs. There's these new feature switches where it looks like they'll be able to turn things on and off more gradually. There were thousands of features in the feature switches table. That's pretty neat stuff. It gives me excitement. It's DBA porn, I suppose you could say. There was an issue that I caught around database corruption where you could corrupt a master in a way that your entire managed instance would be unrecoverable. I have every confidence that they're going to fix that before go live, but it's like anything else. All software has bugs. Stuff breaks.
This is brand new when we looked at it too. Like, the stuff that we found isn't stuff that is going to be there forever or stuff that you have to be eternally vigilant about. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff in SQL Agent that doesn't work. Like, you can't call jobs that use command shell. You can't call jobs that use PowerShell. You can't call SSIS job steps from it. There's no maintenance plans in there. You can't use all Hallingren scripts. There's stuff that just doesn't work yet, right? All stuff coming down the pipe. Some, the T-SQL things are different between managed instances and real life T-SQL, but most of it'll get there. I have a lot of confidence in this so far. I think they're doing a lot of things right.
Man, for a preview, it's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
My biggest gripe was sorry. Go ahead.
Your biggest gripe was what?
The memory didn't go up when the core count went up, but again, previews.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us this week, and we will see y'all next week on Office Hours. Adios.